Right, I'm not going to spend too long making this video because it's as hot as a firecracker in here. I'm recording this on June 19, as I have commitments to adhere to for June 23, which is when this video will be aired. Like I said, it's as hot as a firecracker in here. I think the last time I checked the temperature was something like 29 degrees in the shade. So if you do that as a Fahrenheit conversion, times that by 2, that's 58. No, yeah, 58. Then plus 25, so you're looking at 53. 83 degrees Fahrenheit for that particular time. So I don't want to take any more time than I would need to. I mean, I would love to spend more time on this video, but it's like I'm out in the desert at the moment. 26 years. What is there to say about a character that has been part of multiple generations, people that have grown up admiring, idolizing, and loving this character? He means so many different things to so many different people. I mean, to some people, he's an inspiration to pick yourself up and dust yourself up when you've had mishaps in life. To some, he's pure entertainment. He's just one of those feel-good characters that can get from A to B, and he's a character that's paved the way for other characters to come in. There are people that are die-hard miles per hour fans. There are people that are, fans of the original version of Knuckles the Echidna, the intelligent, naive one, and not the rather simpleton version that they've got at the moment in Boom. And I think that's just down to the writers misunderstanding the character. I don't have a problem with Knuckles having a much more muscular design, since it actually makes sense for the character to be able to have that kind of look, to represent that kind of strength. And it's because of characters like Sonic. There are people that have been introduced to fan favorite characters like Sally Acorn, who, she's my favorite Sonic character next to Sonic. But let's just put it this way: if both of them are, like I say, equal favorites, I lean towards Sally, simply because of the way she's written. And that's another thing. There are different sides to Sonic's personality. There's the classic Hedgehog with attitude that we've seen with probably more with Satam and the earlier games, where he kind of embodies that rebellious teen, I don't want to say angst, because that's more Shadow the Hedgehog's kind of thing, but the way Sonic was represented in the 90s, I think, pretty much encapsulates the iconic Hedgehog with attitude look. Whereas as the 90s came to an end and we saw the likes of Sonic Adventures 1 and 2 and Heroes, it was more of a laid back and easygoing kind of character, because that's what the character had kind of evolved into. Whereas with, like I say, the mid-90s, where you look at him, he's pretty much being into rock and roll music and just, saying these corny one-liners, which in the middle of the 90s, it's fine. But by the time Sonic X came along, it's almost like the character is very chilled and very philosophical, particularly when you see him napping most of the time, or going off looking for flowers and what have you. So again, different generations have different representations of what they think the character should be. And with his 26th anniversary this year, and in 2 months' time, we're finally getting the 25th anniversary game for Sonic Mania as a download for PS4, Xbone, the Switch, and PC and Steam, which I suppose covers the PC. But to be fair to Christian Whitehead and company, I think they've been very smart about this, because they have said that they want this game to be so polished that it has a shine. And I think that's the right way to go about it, because there are so many video games today, and in the last 10 to 15 years, that rush everything just to meet a certain deadline, where it's the standpoint a lot of people are taking now is like, no, 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 no. We're going to put this game out when it's ready, not before. And again, I think that's a stance that a lot more companies should actually take on board, because we've seen so many botch jobs, particularly with the way Sonic 360 was done 11 years ago. I think if Sega had the hindsight of today and actually could foresee the problems that game would bring with regards to loading screens, programming and beta testing, I think in all honesty Sonic 360 would have probably have either been in the works in late 2003 just so that they could do it right, or they would have delayed the game until, say, mid-2007. And by that point, it kind of defeats the point of it being a 15th anniversary game. But via the same token, it's better to have a game out delayed and finished rather than released on time and be as buggy as hell. And then, of course, there's the possibility of what people refer to as Season 3, which the likes of Anthony Legato and Laura Blue, who is pretty much the unofficial, possibly the best damn voice of Sally Acorn since Kathy Sose. And Laura, if you're watching this, hope you're doing alright, hope you get well soon. Seriously, folks, do send her a get well. Laura's not feeling too well at the moment. I'm not going to go into specific details because, you know, there's just some things I'm just not going to talk about. But the lady's unwell, so do drop by a get well message to her. I'm sure she would appreciate it. But yeah, I'm hoping the Season 3 happens someday, because I think it's long overdue. I think Sega missed a huge opportunity to not only do the third season back in the day, but they've missed an opportunity with taking a few of the Archie characters, and by extension the Satam characters, and putting them into the games. And I know there's going to be some people that say, oh, they can't fit into the games. How do you know? Just saying. And of course, looking into the future, I think Sonic Forces will be an interesting set of circumstances, particularly with the rogue lineup of, first of all, Shadow, which I thought, okay, Shadow's turned heel again. It's like, okay, this is different. Bringing back Chaos, who hasn't been featured as a prominent, misunderstood villain, should I say, since 99 Sonic Adventure. I'm not really counting Sonic Adventure DX because that's just a port of a 99 game over to the GameCube in 2003, so it's not really a new game per se. And then getting Metallics. Now, I know people still refer to him as Metal Sonic, but in, I think it was the summer of 94, when, no, spring of 94, when the Fleetway Sonic the comic introduced the character, they referred to the character as Metallics. And I think that's just a little bit better than just calling him Metal Sonic, you know, because you can, although it looks like Sonic, you can distinguish between the two, because, first of all, one of them is a sentient anthropomorphic hedgehog, and the other is a sentient android. You know, android, organic. Android, organic. Speaks for itself. And then this new guy, Infinite, he's being referred to as, and he's going to take the combined forces of classic Sonic, modern Sonic, and custom character. I know there's going to be a few people that are going to narc on this and say, oh, they've opened the Pandora's box that is DeviantArt. Well, here's the thing. The fans have been saying for years they can do a better brand new character. Sega have basically said, right, here's the keys, you know, go nuts. And one thing that I will talk about in the upcoming episode of Ask the Knight for this Sunday is, you know, particularly one question that the Firebird has asked me. How would I implement Sally into future Sonic games? I'm just going to tell you right now, this is just a little spoiler for what's coming for this Sunday. I would have made the gameplay style that Sally, the gameplay style that the custom character will have, I would just put that in for Sally, because that would suit her to a T, because we've seen in Satam that she's the action girl, she's the tomboy, she's not, you know, not afraid to get her fingers dirty, and we've seen her with grappling hooks and ropes and whatnot. I think this would suit her properly. There's probably a few people that are going to say, well, your opinion is wrong. Right. Small little thing, and I feel like a few people need to know this. An opinion is neither right nor wrong. It's subjective. A fact and a statistic can be wrong. An opinion, not right nor wrong. It's just that. It's a subjective point of view, and I think people really need to stop it with this obnoxious and condescending, asinine mentality that, you know, if someone gives an opinion, says, "Oh, your opinion is wrong." No, the only reason people say that is because others are not thinking the same way as they do. And here's a real thing. If we all had the same opinion and the same mentality, life would be dull, boring, and mind-numbingly asinine. Because it's differences in opinion that makes this world an interesting place. At least that's what I think. But yeah, I'm hoping Sonic Forces will be a decent success for Sonic, particularly on the Expo, because it's been some time since we've had, you know, I think it's probably since Sonic Generations that we've had a brand new Sonic game for that system in particular. And I like the fact that, like with Sonic Mania, Sega and Sonic Team have taken their time with this one. And I think it's a little, it's like I said earlier, I think it's a little something that other studios should adopt now, because the whole thing of rushing, it doesn't work. I mean, I made this point of saying this in the chapter for Sonic 360 in Fast Memories last year. When you rush production, you can't see the little faults and mistakes that you're making, and Sonic 360 was a huge cluster fudge. I say cluster fudge because, you know, there are just some words I'm not going to drop on my channel. You know, that's just the way I am. Because, in all honesty, you don't need to, and here's the thing, you don't need to keep dropping the F-bomb for everything. You know, what Oni does, you know, with RDR, you know, that's just Oni being Oni. But, you know, these days I don't bother doing that because, you know, that's just not me, you know. And, you know, you can be somewhat passionate and, you know, vent out your frustration without dropping huge explicit curse words just for the sake of. I'm just saying. But yeah, lots of things to be very thankful for the 26th anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog this year. I just hope that this year Sega, Sonic Team and Christian Whitehead just continue from what they're building upon, because from what I've seen for Sonic Mania, it looks like it's going to be new but familiar, particularly with some of the little cinematics that we've seen for the pre-order trailer, where it shows in the elevator segment 1, 2, 3, K and then M. Although a lot of people are a little bit curious as to why 4 wasn't there. I think that's just Sega's way of possibly disregarding it because of the negative backlash that it got with episodes 1 and 2. Now, I personally enjoyed episodes 1 and 2 for what they were. because it was something that the fans had asked for. I do agree that they could have spent more time with the physics, getting it right, but from what I've seen from, you know, from gameplay footage that has been sparingly put onto YTub, Christian Whitehead knows what he's doing. So I look forward to that. And it's a good time to be a Sonic fan again. The only thing I'm going to say is I just hope that the Archie's Sonic comic does not get cancelled. Simply because I feel like it would be a backward step, you know, to throw away 25 years of legacy just for nothing. You know, I feel like there are times where publishers and companies really need to take a firm, hard look at what they're doing before they actually make that decision. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa! Take a step back and actually think it through. I know Archie's have said they wanted to distance themselves from the Sonic brand for some time, but it's just like, you know, guys, you've made it one of the longest running video game comic books for a quarter of a century. It's like, you know, don't throw that away. You'll regret it. And there is no guarantee, dependent on what comic book studio that Sega would go to next, would the story start complete fresh blank slate, or would they continue from where it left off? I'd like to personally believe they would continue from where it currently is, but that said, I'm not going to hold my breath. And from the standpoint, you know, and again, I keep bringing Sally into this, but again, she's, you know, one of my more favoured Sonic characters simply because of the way she's written. I feel like Sega will be making a not so much Sega. But I feel like Archie's will be making a huge mistake because there's no guarantee that her character will be carried over into any future potential comic book continuities of the franchise. So, you know, I know there's a community that doesn't like Sally. I remember reading one comment on one video saying, I hate Sally's fans because they're all a-holes. And I'm like, okay, you hate a character because of her fans and not her traits. Okay, that's logical. Just saying. But yeah, not to get off on too much of a tangent, but, you know, who'd have thought some 26 years ago, playing Sonic 1 on the Mega Drive, Genesis if you're in the States, we'd still be playing him quarter of a century later, after all the likes of Adventure, Adventure 2, Heroes, Unleashed, Colors, and then Generations. He would still be as popular and as relevant as he is today. So many characters have come and gone around the time that Sonic first showed up, yet he has survived and prevailed. I think it's just the way that the character is written, designed, and each new story he's given to go through and overcome. And he's one of those characters, you know, they allow him to roll with the times. They allow him to be reinvented. Like I said earlier, 90s was very rebellious, very cocky, attitude, in your face. Particularly when you hear Jaleel say, let's race Ace, let's glide Clyde, or let's juice Bruce, if he ever did say that back in the day. You know, that was relevant to the times because, you know, that was just the way the 90s were. Whereas these days, he just shuts up and gets on with it. Although I found his dialogue in Sonic and the Lost World against the antagonist of that, I thought some of his dialogue came across as a bit cringeworthy, but that's just me. But we don't know what the dialogue is going to be like for Forces, so I don't know. we'll just have to wait and see. But until the release of Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces, just like I've done for the last quarter of a century, I'm simply saying, on this day, June 23, happy anniversary, Sonic. Keep on going, because we'll keep on going with you. Until next time, folks, good night from the night, and happy 26th anniversary to Sonic the Hedgehog.